The morning was quiet, almost too quiet. The sun was out, but the house still felt dark. She had just finished making breakfast for the kids when she heard the sound of the mail truck outside. It was a sound she'd heard every day, but today her heart began to race. On the porch lay a single envelope, white, creased, and carrying handwriting she knew instantly. Her husband's. She froze. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. He had been gone for months, serving in a war zone where danger was the language of every day. He had promised to write whenever he could, but weeks had passed with silence. Her hands shook as she picked it up. She stared at the name written on the front, traced her fingers over each letter. This was his writing, the same hand that had written their wedding vows, love notes tucked into her purse, and bedtime doodles for the kids. But this envelope, it felt different, heavy, final. She sat down at the kitchen table, the kids laughing in the living room, unaware of the storm about to crash into their mother's world. She whispered to herself, "Not now. Please, not now." With trembling hands, she tore it open. The paper inside was slightly crumpled, its edges worn, as if it had traveled through heat, dust, and rain. Smudges of dirt, or maybe tears, stained the corners. She unfolded it, and her eyes fell on the first words. "My love, if you're reading this, then it means I couldn't say these words to you in person." Her breath caught in her throat. She wanted to stop, but she couldn't. Out here, nights are long. Every star I see reminds me of home. I think of your laugh, the way you held my hand, the way our children fall asleep on your shoulder. Those memories are what keep me alive out here. Her vision blurred as she read. Her fingers pressed against the ink as if touching the paper meant touching him. I was never afraid for myself. The only fear I carried was the thought of leaving you behind. If I could, I would walk through fire just to see you smile again. Please remind our children every single day that their father was proud of them, even when he was far away. Tell them bravery isn't just fighting battles with weapons. Bravery is waking up every day with hope in your heart. Her tears spilled onto the paper, staining the ink. She covered her mouth, trying to silence the sobs so the kids wouldn't hear. But the words kept pulling her deeper into his world. Her eyes drifted to the living room. Their son was building a tower of blocks, proudly showing it to his little sister. She thought of how many times the boy had asked, "When will Dad come home?" She had always answered with hope. Now she wondered if this letter was the answer. Her mind flashed back to the night before he left. He had tucked their daughter into bed, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Daddy will be back soon." Then he turned to his son and handed him his watch, saying, "Keep this safe for me, buddy. When I come back, I'll need it." She had stood in the doorway memorizing his face, terrified it might be the last time she saw it. And now, here she was, holding the words of a man who might never walk through their door again. The letter grew heavier with each line. "If tomorrow doesn't come for me, promise me you'll keep living. Promise me you'll laugh again, even when it feels impossible. You are stronger than you know. And when the nights get cold, remember, I'll be with you in the morning light, in the laughter of our children, and in every song we ever loved together." Her tears fell faster, splashing onto the words. She held the paper to her chest as if it were his heart. The kitchen walls blurred around her. All she could feel was his voice echoing through her soul. She wanted to scream, to tear the letter, to beg the universe to give him back. But instead, she whispered through her sobs, "I'll keep my promise. I'll keep it." The kids came into the kitchen. Their daughter tugged at her sleeve, eyes wide. "Mommy, are you okay?" She smiled through her tears, wiping her face quickly. "Daddy wrote us a letter." She gathered them in her arms, holding the letter between them. "Do you want to hear what he said?" They nodded, and together they read the words, the children too young to understand the weight, but old enough to feel the love. Years passed. The kids grew taller, their questions about their father changing from "When will he come home?" to "What was he like?" She answered every question with stories of his bravery, his laughter, his endless love. And the letter never left their home. She framed it, placing it above the fireplace, not as a reminder of war, but as proof of love so strong it outlived even death. On difficult nights, when the house was too quiet and the loneliness too loud, she would sit by the fire, look at the framed words, and whisper, "I'm still keeping my promise." Even years later, when her children had families of their own, they would gather around that letter and read it aloud, their voices breaking with tears, and every time they felt him there, not gone, not forgotten, but alive in every word he left behind. Because the letter wasn't just goodbye. It was his way of staying forever.